great.
Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to the Scratticus Academy. We are back with some Eberron today. So before we go round and say hello to all these lovely people, a few ramblings from me. Please check out the links coming up in chat now. That includes the Discord. We do have a channel just for the Wonderful Eberron game, and we would love to hear what you think and maybe any theories that you have. Also, if you would like to get on this game or any of our other viewer games, please go and drop Scrat a DM on Twitter, and we will get you in one of the games as soon as we can. Also, if you've missed out on anything, you can head over to YouTube, and all of our games are in playlists where you can go check them out and binge watch them if you so wish. Also, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Maychan Press. You can now get their hardback book in stores. I love this book so much. If you like D&D and you love space, you shove it together and you get this wonderful thing. Also, the deck of many things, and you can see the magic moving spell cards that we have here, which you can donate to affect the game in this session. Also, they created Humblewood, which is incredibly wholesome, and also one of our viewer games, which you can see on Thursday. So please go check them out as well. And last but certainly not least, Hero Forge, where they do the 3D printed minis, which are really fab. They've just released a new race, I believe, and we will be doing a lot more things with them in the future, which I'm excited for. And Scrat definitely did not break the sword off of it, so we have to stick it back on. Otherwise, let's head round and say hello to everyone, and we'll start as we always do with the very lovely Hans. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. I am here to be lovely, as always, but also just to hope everybody has a good time and you take a breath, and I'm very much looking forward to sharing a game with all these folks.
Wonderful. And check out Hans's new game that's coming out, the cooking game. That's going around. You have to go check it out. Then we're going to hop down and say hello to HTT Paladin. Oh, hi.
Hi there, I'm Paladin, and I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. Is that your Twitter handle, and is there anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, hi. HTT Paladin is my Twitter handle, and I'm the co-director for the Islands of Sina Una. Hi.
Awesome. Love it. And then we're going to hop around and say hello to Table Game Smith. Oh, hi.
Oh, hello. Thank you for having me. Oh, I'm so nervous. This is great. I'm very excited.
It's going to be fun. Shenanigans galore is normally this game. So, and last but certainly not least, our wonderful Captain Fake. Hi. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. My name is Faye, and once again, I'm very excited to be here with our lovely new players, and of course with Hans and with Alice.
Fabulous. So, last week, there was a little bit of chaos, and currently, the city of Sharn is in, I'll say, panic. One of their highest leaders of the highest Dragonmark house, Lady Fialin, has been, some are saying kidnapped, some are saying murdered, some are saying she's just disappeared, some people are saying she's gone on holiday. But there's a real mix of rumors going around, and she's not the most liked person, but she is very much admired. And it is said that everyone that attended the ball of hers was themselves either found gone, disappeared, missing, and then there's some rumors somewhere, which people are just saying are stories to spook people, that some of them were found turned to statues, half buried in the ground, or disappeared altogether. It is about an hour or so after the ball and these events, almost sort of coming up to early morning, and leaving down these winding streets, sort of in a way, I'm not sure if they've been making a run for it, but where do we find Basalt and Cinnamon after these events? You seem to have been the only two to have come out of this ballroom. You saw some guards file in and try and make sense of what on earth was going on and some of the rumors and the chaos that happened. You've managed to slip past them.
Is there any way to get back to that other plane with Moira, and
That's a good question. She can hear us on the talking devices, can't she?
You have the
Yes.
rings. You do have the rings as a point of as a point of contact, but not necessarily
Moira, can you hear
transport.
this?
Are you doing that?
I am doing that, but it's yes.
So are you like just out and about in the streets trying to move away from where the party was, or are you going somewhere in particular to contact Moira? Would you do this out in the open? As
Ooh.
there are people in the streets, there are people opening their shops, getting ready for the day.
I think we should probably go back to the Alessandros.
Alessandro's, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you sort
That
of
does make good sense.
You can arrive at Alessandro's, and he likes to lay in. So as the door is opened by that small halfling, she sort of looks at you, smiley, bright-eyed. She doesn't look sleepy at all, but behind her, looking very disagreeable, is Alessandro, that sharp face, that hair that is still incredibly smart for having just woken up, even though there's just a few sort of flicks of hair sort of out of place. He's in his what looks like a dressing gown, but this dressing gown looks almost as though it would be good enough for an evening dinner or something like that. Everything he wears is glamour weave. You can see he's got these little slippers on. He's got his pajama trousers on, and this gown sort of tied around at the waist with a lot of embroidery that seems to be moving, these flowers moving up and down. And he very sleepy-eyed looks at both of you. Looks at you both still in your ball gown sort of wear. And pray, why are you waking me at this hour?
Good morning.
It is, and he sort of takes a watch out. I have 2 more hours until it is morning.
Well, Basil, do you want to tell him, or do you want me to tell him what happened?
Yes, in short, many people have died, and we'd like to come inside.
And I joined a cult.
And he gives you a look and sort of like rubs his temple. He's like, oh, for God's sake, get in. And he sort of opens the door for you both to come in. And you enter the same door you left, but it looks completely different this time, almost as if you're in a completely different building. Huge marble tiled floors, these large sort of ancestral paintings all over the walls. And there is this sort of door off to the side where he leads you off into a side kitchen. And it looks to be a side kitchen, not one for like a flourishing party or anything like that. And there's a simple table, there's a big hearth, a big stove, and tea on the boil. And he looks at all of you to sit down, Cinnamon and Basalt. He pours himself a tea. He pours both of you a tea. Then. So, are you... First of all, what do you mean you joined the cult? Do you do that at most parties? Because I normally go there for like the nibbles. The nibbles, the drinks, the dancing, the chatting, the interaction. What kind of party did you go to?
This is my first party. So
I did not join a cult at my first party.
I didn't know that wasn't a thing, but well, I followed this woman. She said she was the daughter of Lady Fionn, and she seemed very lovely until I walked downstairs, and then there was 2 of her, and then she did some very scary things, and then this happened to my hand, and then I don't really remember much. I woke up, and there was a lot of people being dragged down into the ground. A lot of people turned to statues. My hand really hurts. And there was culty things happening.
And he puts his hands together, and again you see him close his eyes for a moment, takes a sip of his tea, puts it down. So, you went to a party to try and find some information. And you joined, let me see your hand. I don't even know what that is. What kind of cult is that? Didn't you have like a ritual or a do you want to join kind of thing? You could have said no.
I don't know if I could have said no. She kind of forced me into it. There was a lot of, you can join us, or you can join them. But I think she was implying that if I didn't say yes, that she would kill me.
Okay. Did you get the book or not?
Not.
Oh, Moira's going to be on my back again. Okay. So, in some way you can start hearing bells ringing up in the towers. And he almost looks out this tiny window you can see up in the sort of up in the top of this kitchen. Well, first of all, we'll get you into more suiting outfits. Maybe it's best that you weren't known to be at the party. And then you need to find this book. You know how important this book is. And so don't join any more cults. Because okay. And he sort of goes over and he takes your hand. And he's like, young child, when you go to a party, it's not the standard to do those things, okay? And he looks over at Basil and is like, did you not tell her this?
Honestly, being part of a Dragonmarked house feels very much like being in a cult.
You were at least invited, not forced. Am I correct?
I don't think that's how it works, no.
And he looks back and forth at both of you and shuffles in these fluffy sort of slippers across the kitchen.
I have a very large mark and I'm told what to do. She has a mark and is being told what she's going to do. It seems exactly the same.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what kind of cult is it? What is the... it's not a dragon-marked house. What kind of cult did you join?
Well, there was a really big dark shadow dude.
A big... Is that how we kids talk now?
Yes.
Well, what did
Big
they
dark
look
shadow
like? Did
person.
they have a name? Did they use certain... Because this is important because, you know, you could have a bit of a problem.
Yes, there was a name that Faye doesn't remember right now.
Which is why Alice is looking it up.
Are we referencing the Lich or are we referencing something different?
Yeah, actually first we're referencing the
Is
Lich.
it Suratash?
Sulkatesh.
Sulkatesh.
Sulkatesh. And he almost chokes on his tea. He's like, excuse me? What name did you say?
That sounds right, Basel. Right? Sulkatesh?
Sulkatesh does sound right.
You joined the cult of an ancient lich.
I mean, I didn't know that that's what you're not supposed to do at parties. Live and learn.
Oh, you'll learn. Right, okay. First of all, does Moira know about this?
We were gonna tell her next.
Oh, well, I can't wait to watch this. And he goes and sits back in a chair and crosses his leg over one and sits there with a cup of tea.
Basil, I feel like I'm in trouble. Maybe you should tell Grandma Mora?
Yes, that's fine. I feel like I'm also in trouble, but I'm fine with that.
And Alessandro just sort of squints at you over his tea.
I, like, tap my ring. Like, hello? Is this on? Hello? She does one of those things where you're like, she's talking way too loud into like a cell phone.
Yeah, you hear
She's
like
16.
this.
She's supposed to understand technology better than everybody older than her.
This is old tech. You hear like a crackle, and there's almost a swirl of this, what looks like water at first, as it slowly starts to merge in front of you, as if you're looking through this ripple pool. And that that huge old lady of an orc sort of turns around and, what? Oh, Did you get it? Did you enjoy the party? It was your first party after all. Put that down, as you hear her yelling at the gnome from the other side.
Hello, Moira. How are you?
I am very, very well. I have had my tea. I have been up. I'm an early bird, you see. Alessandro isn't, and it looks like you're in his kitchen, so he's not going to be very happy.
No, he's not.
Are you calling with good news? You hear that
We are
slam.
not calling with good news.
You hear that slam of a teacup on the table.
You look lovely today. That's the good news.
Oh, I knew I liked you. And then she sort of stops, and she's got her staff, and she's, "You're trying to butter me up."
Yes, that is all the good news.
But what happened? I haven't opened the... And she sort of reaches out. You see a gnome come forward and pass her a newspaper, and as she opens it, she's like, "Oh!" And then looks straight back at you.
Do you want the bad news or the worse news?
Is it this? And it says Lady Fialin declared missing and ballroom
Honestly, I would
destroyed.
say neither. I would say that's almost neutral.
Yeah, that's like the better part of the news. Yeah, like the neutral news.
Well, then, if this is the neutral news, take it back. It is like, what is the bad, the awful news?
Well, how about you tell the bad news? I'll tell the worst news.
Okay.
Spit it out, and you feel that staff come through that pool and start jabbing you in the chest.
Well, the bad news is that we didn't get the book, and that the villains did get the book.
Villains? Everyone's a villain in this city. You're gonna have to be more specific.
Oh, well, that's where the worst news comes in. Apparently, the Lady Fialin's daughter was associated with the Lich Sokotesh. And I joined his cult.
She sort of like takes out a pair of glasses and leans down to look at your hand, and you can almost see like her nose pressed through this water. Oh, first party, hey? I joined a cult in my first party. But it's
See?
not quite a lich one. I mean, it's a bit of a... Oh, this is not good. I mean, Sulkatesh shouldn't be around, and she's going to be very angry at me. And she sort of seems to wander. Her mind wanders off somewhere else. As you see one of the raptors run past her in the background with the gnome chasing it. Right. Well, you should probably leave the city. It would
That
be
sounds fun.
beneficial for you. I don't know, when you feel like there's a storm brewing and when the rock outside swings and you get the chills down your spine and the stick rattles the wrong way, it's that time to leave.
No, but I'll take your word for it.
You should leave. I will, find a way to contact you once you are out of the city, but it is best for you to, mosey on. That's what children say now, isn't it?
Well, you don't want to do, say, a portal where we would just come over to your side.
Oh, goodness, no, I'm old. It takes it out of me.
Right. We'll just leave
You
the
could end
city.
up anywhere. I haven't had my coffee yet.
Well, I mean, I guess we could leave. Where should we go?
Out of the city. Where do you think? Where would this person have gone? Do you know where they would have gone?
Well, it seemed like everybody went down. Like there were a lot of people being dragged down,
like
and then
south?
no, like into the ground. And then they became statues.
Right.
Is there another plane? Like, you know how you're in this plane and we're in this plane? Is there another plane?
I mean, there's not a plane, but you could easily go down through the cogs. The under part of the city.
There's an under part of the city?
There's many layers. You wait till you see the sewers.
Does that count as out of the city?
Well, you can head down there and sort of get a boat from the Dagger River, or you can take an airship, or... no, I think you have to go to Breland to get the lightning rail. I can't remember. It's been a while.
Okay, well, Basalt, do you have any ideas? You are from here more than I am.
I suppose we could go down, or we could take an airship or the lightning rail. I mean, realistically, anything should work.
Well, as I said, make up your mind. I've been getting the heebie-jeebies lately, so there's probably a bad north wind brewing from somewhere. And she sort of like cackles to herself, and she walks off as if if you're like FaceTiming, she just walks off screen, and you see the water drop into a puddle on the floor.
Okay, bye.
She always does that. Now, we should probably get you out of those clothes and put you in something a bit more travel-worthy, unless you want to swan about in a ball gown on an airship or a train. Or a boat.
Well, as fun as this is, I feel like we might be noticed if we wear this. I've never been on an airship before. Can we go on an airship?
I mean, that is one of our options at this point.
This, wrong voice. I did that last time. Look, this is totally up to you. I'm just going to clothe you and kick you out, okay? No offense, but as I said, I've got at least 2 more hours till morning, which has probably been cut down to about an hour and a half now.
That sounds reasonable.
Yes, I think that would be very appreciated.
He sort of puts the little teacup down, stands up, sort of sighs, like, straightens up his gown. This way, please, and don't touch any of my things. And he starts walking out of the kitchen. And we will hop over to Charlie at first, I think. Where would Charlie be during this time? Would it be it's sort of early morning when things are starting to open, the city's starting to wake up.
Ooh. Would you say like last night was probably kind of like a bit of a rough night for a lot of people?
It depends what contents. It was also the summer festival, so rough by a lot of drinks, technically yes. However, there would have been fights in taverns, but nothing in particular, like anything has gone on. All of this happened up in the upper city, within the manor house.
In that case, I think Charlie probably starts his day begrudgingly as someone else just wakes him up from his usual seat in the same tavern he's always gone to, and kind of shoos him out of the door. Disagreeably at first, but he goes along with it because he knows he has to come back, and if he's not nice, they won't let him back.
And what does Charlie look like?
So Charlie's a warforged. He looks a bit rough, a bit dented. Like, he keeps himself clean, but he doesn't care a great deal. Most of the time, he kind of got these leathers that he wears over the top of everything, and then just like a large coat in an attempt to be kind of inconspicuous more often than not.
Okay.
But yeah. So
you've, in a way, been chucked out of this tavern. It's called the Soggy Possum. It is one we've been to before. And the streets are, as much as it's early, you can see that golden sunlight streaming down the little alleyways. It's that painful sort of splintering headache if you look at it directly too quickly. You can hear some of the shops starting to open. You hear taverns waking up. You hear the city itself waking up. You can hear, however, what you don't normally get this time in the morning, the bells from the top of the city, from those towers in Sharn are ringing. You can see a couple of people waving newspapers. You can see a young boy walking up and down the street, just sort of thrusting them into people's hand. You can go, Lady Fialin disappeared, possibly dead. We do not know. As she's sort of like walking along and pushing these papers, sort of shoves one at you, but it's not like waiting for you to take it. It is literally a
I just
shove.
grab it like out of a habit. This is just how this city always is, and I love this city.
Yeah, you take the paper, and it does indeed say, at the ball last night at the Dragon-marked house, Lady Fialin disappeared, kidnapped, murdered. There's a lot of rumors going around.
Oh, that's not good. But what it is work. And so I'm going to, thinking about, normally Charlie, he likes to investigate things. That's what he does. And to him, this looks like a payday waiting to happen. There is going to be a reward for information. He just needs to find out where and who. So, would I know that, or would I have a role for it?
You would. What are you trying to find someone who might know what's going on, or something like that?
Yeah, or more so, who is going to be offering the reward that is more than likely coming to find this missing purse?
There's not you. It's not that you can't see a reward. This is one of the highest up people in the whole city, if not one of the most well-known families in this continent. And you know, regardless, that there will be a reward, something that you'd have to report to. But you've noticed that it's not just Lady Fialin that's disappeared; it is everyone who was at that party has disappeared. However, I will say, if you are an investigator, you do know that there is there's a dwarf that it works behind the bar at another tavern closer down by the docks at the Rusty Anchor, and he's definitely one of those people that listens in. He's an eavesdropper. And you've probably shared a drink with him before where you've exchanged information. He tends to know a lot coming in and out on the ships and people leaving.
And poetically as it seems, that's going to be my first port of call.
And you can start heading down those cobbled streets. There's a couple of cows that are being sort of pulled across the path. Some of the confetti and this magical sort of debris and glitter is left on the floor from yesterday's festivities. The food is starting to be cooked up again. You can smell it sort of fill your nostrils. And you head down to the docks and you can see a huge, wide open space down by the docks, these huge boats lining up along the Dagger River. And you see a lot of other Warforged around there. Since the war, the Warforged are being used for what they're good at, which is their strength. You can see some of them working the docks, literally guiding some of the ships and some of the boats into port. Some of them are working with merchants. One of them seems to be a merchant himself, a whole ship of Warforged as they're moving these crates on and off. And you can see the Rusty Anchor. The sign is swinging, and it's rusty, very much like the sign says it is. And it creaks awkwardly. The door opens. A very burly woman throws someone out as he sort of glides a little bit through that damp sort of mixture of mud and sand. As he stands up. You don't know this man, but you've seen his face. He normally gets chucked out a lot. He's just, all right, and keeps going. And you see him walk into the next tavern across the street.
That time again. Fair enough. I'm going to head straight in.
You head in. It's pretty empty apart from the people staying there overnight. You can definitely smell breakfast. You smell bacon and eggs and toast. You can see that dwarf behind the bar. You know him as Dennick. And he's only ever been known as Dennick to you. You're not even sure if it's his real name. But he stands there with this almost golden sort of long braided beard that sits, which he tucks into his waistband. And he's got a very, very short cropped haircut. You know it's only not messy because of the tavern owner, the lady you just saw throw or launch a man out. But he seems to have already finished doing his early morning jobs. He's wiped down the bar, he's got that rag in his hand. But otherwise, he sort of sat there. He's not noticed you. His head sort of resting on his fists as he looks around the tavern at everyone sort of enjoying their breakfast.
Right. So I walk over to him and drop the newspaper basically right in front of him on the bench. I say, Denick, my friends.
Oh.
What have you heard?
You all right,
Big
Charlie? Morning. Yes, morning. It is morning. It feels like
Yeah,
morning.
I think it is.
Mm.
But there are more pressing concerns than what time of day it is, mate. This, and I tap again on it. What have you heard? Because you hear a lot, my friend.
And he sort of looks at it, looks up at you. He takes it. Didn't think this was real. Is that actually a real thing? I didn't think anyone could kidnap the Lady Fionn.
Well, someone certainly tried. So, I'm looking to find out who, or at least someone who might know. And now it comes to me that I ask you. Did you hear of anyone going to this party? Anything like that?
He sort of pauses and looks at you. He's like, what's in it for me?
We've been friends for a long time. You know, always, there's something in it for you. In this particular case, time is money, and so is this. And I slide, I'm going to say, a silver piece onto the table.
Okay. Could you roll a persuade for me, please?
Yes, I can. Oh, excellent.
Oof.
That's going to be 17.
Yeah, he looks at it. He looks like he's trying to not be interested, but you see that glint in his eye as that silver goes across. He sort of reaches over, takes the coin, rolls it between his fingers a moment, awkwardly looks at you and just bites it down on the side. Is that okay?
You cut me
Fine.
deep.
I cut you deep. I'm just checking it's real. You can't blame me for that. And he sort of pauses and he reaches down and pulls out a drink for you. And it's one of the tavern owners, what she calls delights. They're not delights at all. It's to sober you up in the morning. It's a mixture of the equivalent of Tabasco tomato juice. And there's a bizarre looking vegetable sticking out of the top of it. And he looks at you. He's like, I heard 2 people got out of there last night. The only 2 people that ain't missing.
2 regular people? Fancy people? What kind of people are they, Derek?
I mean, they looked pretty fancy. They were dressed fancy. One of them had a cane, bit of a limp on one side. And he was a half-orc. And he had a young elf with him. Like, you know, didn't look old enough to be drinking.
Interesting. So what is a half-orc doing with a very young elf and a bow when someone very important goes missing? It doesn't sit right with me.
Or she didn't look like she knew what was really going on that part. They were trying to get out of there pretty quick, if you know what I mean. And between you and me, because he sort of like puts the silver in his pocket, some weird stuff's been going on anyway. Look, as you said, we're friends, and I'm a little bit worried for you.
Come on, mate. Nothing to worry about.
Some merchants have been coming in here. Stuff's been going missing. And not just stuff. Their colleagues, their crewmates. And he leans in a bit further. And you can see he's stood on a stool the other side as he leans over, so he's at your height. It's like, they're all warforged. Every single one of them. Gone. I'm worried for the ones down the docks. They came in new this morning. I don't know how many will be leaving.
This has been happening every day.
Maybe. I've only seen it the last 3 days. But it was enough to make me notice, you know? I see who comes in and out of here. And who comes into port. It's just a bit odd, you know?
It's very odd. Warforged have a hard enough time anyway. That's...
Well, tell you what. You keep an eye out for things. I'll get you breakfast. Go sit down.
Okay, I'm gonna look at that drink. I don't have to, do I? I already paid you.
It's not for me. Do you want to keep her happy? And you sort of look over and there's the woman who's just looking at you. It's a very plain face. It's not like angry, not intense, but she's just, you know, when a mum looks at you, is like, finish your dinner. It's that kind of look. And it's tingly. It's slightly fiery.
Mm-hmm.
It's not nice, and it definitely wakes you up.
Couldn't have been better if my own mum made it. Thanks. I'm gonna go take my seat.
Bring it over in a second, mate. And then we're gonna hop over to Segar. And Segar, where would you be in the morning in Sharn as the city starts to wake up?
Sergo would be coming in the lightning realm.
Awesome. You, is there anywhere in particular he's come from? Or, like, was it a trip away? Yeah, okay. You step out onto the platform as you can feel, well, you can feel the lightning rail come to a halt. You can hear the, that whir of the magic that powers it along the line, sort of like power down. As it's at one of the last stops in Sharn. And you step off of this huge, brilliant machine that goes so much faster than any airship, goes faster than any boat. And it's the new sort of, it's an innovation. It's one of the best ways to travel. And you step off, and there's lots of people piling off. You can see what look to be a group of gnomes that are piling off or carrying all of these bags and sort of tumbling about and heading off towards the airship port. You can see a couple of humans and elves chatting and talking as they go. It's very much a normal sort of feel, but could you roll me a perception check, please?
Let me see here. Did that roll properly? Okay. And then because of my mark, if I can read this right, I'm going to add a d4 to that check.
Yes.
So 16.
Oh, yes. On a 16, you're watching all of these people sort of filter on and off of the train, sort of going backwards and forwards. And you notice all the way down the other end of the station, someone stands there, hood up, cloak down, and they just seem to be watching you. They don't move. If anything, at first you would have thought it was a statue. But almost as you notice it, it turns and starts to walk down the steps of the station, which you know leads down to the next level of the city.
Serga sighs and tries to follow after that person.
Okay, are you doing this stealthily or
not at all?
No. Okay. You sort of move through the crowds. You can see this sort of flourish of cloak, and it is it's nothing fancy. It doesn't look like a high level sort of embroidery or anything like that. It very much looks to be so that they're inconspicuous. And this person stands maybe just under 6 foot. And what do you look like?
Serga stands just under 6 foot. He's got a lot of mass to him, but there's not really much you can do with it. He's dressed in scale mail underneath some green clothing, and he's just clamoring after him, or her, them, whoever this person is, just kind of haphazardly tired, just, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. It's not a careful approach at all.
Okay, could you roll a perception check for me then to keep an eye on them in this crowd?
Sure thing.
Okay.
17.
17. You keep an eye on them. They look like they're trying to not lose you, but they're moving faster than the rest of the crowd. And you sort of weave in between all of these people. Some of them sort of, as you sort of move them aside, sort of give you a look, but don't really do much to stop it. But they start to lead you down some of these, first of all, high streets, and then down some of the alleyways, these cobbled alleyways. People are still in them, but the crowds are getting less and less and less. And you come to an alleyway with cobbled steps and very, very high buildings, almost sand-colored buildings with lots and lots of like washing lines streaming in between the buildings. And you know this is one of the dyeing houses, as you can see one of the huge pools with the vat of color, with these two humans dipping these long pieces of material, and it's all drip drying. And the only amount of weaving you have to do is literally to avoid the drips now. And as you get to the end of this alleyway, the person stops with their back to you for a moment, and then they turn. You are following me.
You were staring at me.
And you can see sort of a smile and a laugh. I wanted to see what you were like before we met properly.
And who do you think I am?
You're Sega. We just got off the lightning rail.
I'm going to quickly pat where my identification papers are just to make sure they weren't stolen.
Yeah, you pat them and they're there. They are there. And you can see what a pair of what look like, I'd say, fairly delicate hands. If you'd like to get more information on what the person looks like, I will let you roll an investigation check, or even an insight, maybe, if you want to try that.
I will go for the insight.
Okay.
Oh no. Oh no, this person's just so trustworthy.
Oh, it's a new best friend. You sort of look at this person, they hold themselves fairly well. You notice their hands, which is one of the few bits that you can actually see of them, they don't look like they've worked a day in their life. They don't look like it's I don't think they've seen any hard labor or anything like that, and they are very, very feminine hands. You do see that they are in long boots, trousers, and what maybe looks like some leathers underneath, but the cloak conceals most of it. And you see the sort of tip of red hair, only about that much, sort of tucked away. And she takes a step forward. I'm sorry if that was forward of me to almost introduce yourself to myself.
It is a little rude.
I'm not very good at that. Not
Clearly.
yet. And there's a chuckle. And would you do something for me?
Do you have money for this something?
I do. And she reaches in and she pulls out what looks like a purse, and it looks heavy. Like, this is big. And she puts it down in front of her so she's not coming near you. This is the first half. I want you... And she pauses. And then she takes out something else from her coat. And it looks like a small parcel, no bigger than yay big. And she puts it down next to the purse. Down by the docks, there's a tavern called the Rusty Anchor. There's someone in there. There's a warforged called Charlie. I need you to find him for me and wait there.
And what happens if I find this Charlie?
Well, hopefully you share a drink or some food before I get there with more instructions. If, of course, you wish to take them.
Is the package for Charlie or just to hold when I meet him?
Just to hold, but keep it safe.
I take out my quarterstaff and try and tap the package and tap the pouch just to make sure nothing seems iffy with either of them.
You reach out and you tap the pouch. You can definitely hear that jingle of coin of metal. And when you tap the parcel, it seems pretty solid. It doesn't sound like hollow or like a box or anything. It seems solid.
I'm going to put the quarterstaff away and scoop up both the package and the pouch. And when I get up, I have a small smile on my face. There's no better arms to hold than the arms of House Beneath.
She nods. I thought so. And she turns and walks away down another one of the alleyways, almost as swiftly as she moved and came down here.
Okay. I'm going to just hold my shield above my head, not caring to avoid the drifts, and head down to the Rusty Anchor.
Okay. You start to head down to the Rusty Acre. You follow the path where you see people, as I said, setting up in the morning. They all seem to be pretty cheery, though I will say you can feel something in the air. Like, people don't seem to be as relaxed. There's a bit more tension in some people, but a lot of people seem to be waving those tensions off, dismissing them.
As I'm walking,
I'm
walking down, could I count how much coin is in the purse?
Oh yes, you count around 90 gold. This is a lot of money in here.
Cool. Cool.
And you do head down in that direction, and you can see what Charlie saw: the boats coming in, the Warforged moving, the traders coming in and out, what you would expect from a port city. And the Rusty Anchor door gets thrown open, and a man gets thrown out as a woman stands there. It's like, I said, don't come back! And this man sort of grumbles and walks over into the opposite tavern.
Serga just shakes his head and waits for the way to clear to enter the Rusty Anchor.
She looks at you and goes, tell me about it, and walks back in to the tavern, leaving the door open for you.
I head in and close the door behind me. How many Warforged are in here?
In here, there seems to be maybe 2 or 3. One of them you can see is walking around with a tray of drinks. Definitely works behind the bar and is picking up and moving barrels and taking them outside. And you can probably guess refilling. There is one where a dwarf has just walked over and plonked a pewter plate down in front of him, which is piled up with what looks like meats and eggs and lots of bread and toast and things like that. And then you can see one other, which is just standing by the door, and the tavern woman is sort of talking to him as if giving him directions.
When I get a chance, I'm going to try and ask the Warforged being addressed a few questions.
Okay. You can sort of head towards him. You hear the woman sort of saying to him, it's like, don't let him back in, as she walks away, and this Warforged stands there. And he's much smaller than the average Warforged. He looks a little bit battered. Maybe he's literally been through the wars. But he's standing very proudly.
Excuse me.
And you see that head sort of turn to you, and he has a voice that is not usual for a Warforged. You can tell maybe he's undergone some modifications and changes. You can see that the arm is a different arm, almost like it's a completely different color, as his voice sounds incredibly robotic. And he's, hello.
Hello. I'm looking for a Charlie.
Charlie. And he sort of looks over and sort of starts to scan, just look around the room. He's like, I can take you to him. May I have a name to introduce you?
House Beneath.
House Beneath. Wonderful. I am Blue. And he starts to walk over towards where you can see this other Warforged eating breakfast. And he sort of gestures, a very awkward sort of gesture towards Charlie. And it's just, Charlie. And he sort of waits. House Beneath. And he gestures to this gentleman standing.
Right. Do I owe you money or something? Blue, thank you. You can go back to your door.
Thank you. And he starts to walk away.
No. I am in the position to have a conversation with you.
Well, the merrier, pal. Take a seat. Don't mind me, I'm gonna continue eating. Might be the only chance I get today. Continue eating as you talk.
Serga sits down and just looks at him kind of puzzled. I don't mean to make a bad impression, but what, where does that all go?
Do you actually eat it, or is it a thing? Because the dwarf will bring it to you every time, regardless.
At first, I did it kind of to humor people, but it's become a habit I just don't put down yet. Something interesting. Sometimes it's good, other times you just turn off. What about you? What do you do with your food? While we're on the topic.
The things that the flesh body does.
Good to know. So, House, presuming that's not your name, I'm Charlie, and who do I have the honor of speaking with?
You have the honor of speaking to Serga de Denis. Pleasure to meet you. I tell you, I come off the train this morning. I see someone watching me. I follow them. Turns out to be a woman, very wealthy. Tells me to come here with a package and talk to you. The package is not meant for you. I don't know you at all, but she pays me to come here and talk to you.
You can see like Charlie kind of like gets once you start explaining the story and especially when the money comes into it, you have a lot more attention and the food is pushed aside. A rich woman's looking for me, he said.
Of course.
And that box, can I see the box?
I am afraid it is not meant for you, so I must say no.
Well, there goes that. And is she to be joining us, or is it just you and I are supposed to be friends now?
I don't think I was paid to be your friend, but I was paid to be here at this time to have this conversation, as awkward as it may be.
Good to know. And I slide the red drink with the weird fruit thing in it. It's on me, bud. It's good, trust me.
Vows say I must not.
Shame. So
But-
you get... Sorry, please.
But for your time, I would like to offer you some of her payment.
Then friends we are, please. Whatever you have. But
I take out 5 gold from the overall payment and slide it over.
I don't look. I pocket it straight away. I make eye contact. No one ever pays me that much just for my company. But most people don't follow strangers off trains and take jobs from them. So this sounds bad. And I'm going to pick up newspaper, slide that across to you. You've heard this then?
No, I haven't, but this does explain the mood. Sean is I don't like it. Has a very poor attitude about a lot of things, but this morning it seemed very on edge.
The taste isn't for everyone. But... So, you have been paid to come see me.
Yes.
And that means you said we are expecting company?
Assumed to be yes.
What brings you to the city? It's not me.
I finished up some business with my countryman, and I come back here to get more work. Between you and me, I am truly hoping that the rich woman comes back. Money is good.
Money is great. And I'll call over to Denik? Denik.
Yeah.
Seeing as breakfast time's past, could you bring us over another? And one for my friend.
You got it, mate. And he sort of starts huddling down behind the bar, jumps off the stool, and you can hear like a rustle behind the actual bar itself before he brings them over. And we are going to jump over to Cinnamon and Basil again. However ridiculous you want them to be or plain outfits would Alessandro have put you in to travel? And yes, it can be glamour weave if you want it.
I kind of imagine that Alessandro doesn't have like just plain dirty clothes.
No. In fact, you hear that he refuses to keep anything like that.
And so I think, it's Cinnamon at least is probably wearing glamour weave because I think that's his specialty, but like trousers and like a tunic, but still obviously glamour weave and a cloak. She probably stands out.
What sort of pattern would be in your glamour weave?
I think she really likes his pattern of like the bird flying that like kind of went around his boots, and so she'll have something that's probably like that if he has any.
He does. He has a lot. In fact, he does remark every now and then. He's like, "Such good taste, so young." As he sort of starts like measuring everything up, trying to get sort of throwing a variety of clothes your way to see if they fit. And he offers you either a set of boots with what looks like a phoenix flying around the ankle and up, or a dragon.
Oh, a dragon.
You can put those on. And how about Basalt? What would Basalt go for?
So Basil made the mistake last time of enjoying his black attire that he had. So Basil's wearing all black again now, in terms of like the underlayer, like like a cross top tunic type shirt and like hose type leggings that are all in black boots with real big turn down tops. And then he has like an ostentatious like Regency captain's jacket that double buttons down the front. Big, I don't know, silver? I'm thinking silver is Alessandro's style buttons, like in 2 rows down the side with the frogging.
Oh yeah. And you're both stood there with this look that you now have. You can see the little halfling running forward, her curls, her sort of blonde curly hair all tied up in a massive knot. She comes and dumps some provisions in front of you, which looks like just 2 satchels. Again, very well made. There's a small metal latch on each, which is a dragon's head that latches into a small loop as it closes it shut. And Alessandro looks at both of you like, it's some of my finest work in the shortest time. Anyway, good luck and get out of my house.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you again.
Yes, and tell your friends where you got it.
I don't have any friends. Other
You've
than
written
you,
your
of
name on
course,
almost
Basalt.
everything. Exactly, yes.
You'll never know what's coming around the corner. Now get out. And he sort of starts like shoving you a little bit out the front door.
Well, I guess we have to leave the city, but where should we go?
That's a great question. I'm not sure exactly where one hires an airship, but I would imagine near the docks. That's probably the direction to go.
Yes, that sounds like a really good idea. Let's go. Which way?
Have fun
I'm
storming
going
the
to say
castle.
up right now.
And you can head down towards the docks, down these cobbled streets. Could you both roll me a perception check as well, please, or insight, either one.
I think my perception's a little bit better.
I get to do the same thing Paladin was doing and add an extra d4 in there.
Not much better.
Okay, so there's that, but I get to throw a d4 on top to be really ostentatious.
Oh, come on.
Literally the opposite. Okay, so Cinnamon, what are you distracted by? In
My
these
clothes.
streets? Your clothes. You're sort of walking around like
looking at my boots. I look good.
you sort of every now and then you look at your boots where you see that dragon sort of swirl around the ankle and all the way up to the top of your boots before it looks like it dives in the side before emerging out through the laces again. And Basil, you're watching Cinnamon sort of go. You sort of move her out of the way of people every now and then as it looks like she's about to collide with them. But as you do, you're looking around and you are seeing a lot of whispers. And I will say, especially on a 20, you see a Warforged and also a human talking to a dwarf in one of the streets. And the dwarf sort of gives him a funny look and then points them in your direction.
Right, so Cinnamon, we should probably be aware of the fact that there are people approaching us right now.
Oh, I'm aware.
Yes, they may want to speak about more than just fashion.
But I
we'll
look
find
so
out.
good. Do you think
It's
they'll
true.
know about the Alisana? Who are they? I'm aware, but who are they?
Those two over there.
Basil, how subtle are you being?
Not.
Okay,
0.
good to know. Then as you sort of do that, you notice this huge, and I mean a big Warforged looks up. And could you make me... How distracted is Cinnamon? Is Cinnamon now looking in the direction of these things?
Oh, yeah.
Or is she still... Okay, you can both roll me either a perception or an arcana check.
Ooh, Arcana.
I think I'm going to do perception.
I shall do Arcana.
My goodness.
I feel this is going to be a thing.
Until we get to combat, then we'll switch.
Then it will
Yeah.
switch, yeah. Cinnamon, you're sort of looking at the human for a moment, and he sort of locks eyes with you. And as you look at him, for a moment you think you see his face distort, and then sort of judder back to what you see before you. It's almost like so quick in a blink, like a glitch. And Basil, you look towards this person, and then your eyes follow up towards the Warforged, where you see the eyes flick from white to yellow as they lock on both of you. And it's a bizarre sort of thing. It's almost like you can feel something in sort of like the air around you, and looking at this thing, it's almost like you lock eyes and you look past, almost through the Warforged, and almost behind it, an extra foot tall, mimicking its every move, is a shadow. And it moves just slightly faster than the Warforged, as if it was moving the Warforged itself.
Right. Cinnamon, are
It
you...
feels unnerving.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Are you aware of that sort of nimbus of shadow that's around that very large Warforged?
I don't see a shadow, but that human's face just did this.
These seem like things we should probably be aware of.
Or avoid?
True, but I don't know that we're really going to, say, run away from them effectively.
Okay, so I shouldn't introduce myself.
No, I think we should probably do that. I think that's probably better than us trying to run away.
Okay. Shall we?
Yes, I think
I'll go
let's
first.
go do that. Oh, very good.
Okay. Are you just heading right over?
Oh yeah, Cinnamon just
Yep.
marches right up.
You notice that as you do, the Warforged looks down because of how big he is, and he looks at you. The dwarf immediately makes himself look scarce, and the human looks to you.
Hello, my name's Cinnamon. Nice to meet you.
So he looks at your hand. Cinnamon. Okay. And pauses for a moment. And you? Then looks towards
And-
you, Basil.
Yes, I'm Basil Vildoran, and now this is where you introduce yourselves.
And Cinnamon very slowly just like, oh.
And again, there's a moment of where he looks at you, looks up at his Warforged, and looks back. And you get a very distinct feeling that this Warforged is maybe almost being used as a bodyguard rather than anything else. But this man is fairly tall, just over 6 foot. Blonde hair, looks very well to do, but again, that you don't see any sort of expensive clothes or anything like that. Again, very much simple clothing, but by looking at him, he has a sort of air about him, and he looks at both of you. I'm Zorlan of House Cannith. Why did you approach me?
Well, in short, it looked like you were looking at us, and this seemed expedient.
And
I
your
wasn't.
your friend was pointing at us. The
He's
dwarf
not my-
friend.
He's not my friend. Did you watch this dwarf like scurry away like he does not want to be there?
Well, I suppose we could be on our way now.
And he looks at you. It may be for the best.
Any recommendations, Blair?
What were your names again?
Basil
Parsley.
Vildoran? Ah, yes, right. Not what I said.
Okay. Deception check on both of you.
There was no point. There was no point in that.
I'm gonna do this with advantage. How about that?
Okay. I mean, you can. I almost feel like Hans needs to do it at disadvantage.
I am fine with that. I will take the disadvantage roll.
All right.
Oh,
Yes,
I wish you
accurate.
that if you had you.
Oh, thank goodness.
Thank goodness you did use an advantage. And he looks at you, Cinnamon, and is like, Parsley.
It's a family name.
I'm sure it is. And then he looks over at you, Basalt, and squints real hard. He's like, I'll bear that in mind. Come on. And he starts to walk away, and you see this huge Warforged walk with him. And Basalt, on the roll previously, you can see whatever the shadow is seems to be clung to its back.
I think that went poorly.
He wasn't very nice. He didn't shake my hand.
True. I was going to ask him where to hire an airship, but I think I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. I think I made a good call by not telling him our names again, because I didn't like him.
Yes, you did much better with that than I did.
Well, there's a tavern here. Do you think people inside the tavern would know where to get an airship?
Honestly, I'm open to the suggestion. Let's find out.
Okay. It's breakfast
Okay.
time anyway.
And you head down towards the taverns. Back in the Rusty Anchor, Charlie and Saga, I keep saying it wrong, Sagar, you both sit there and it could be an awkward silence, it could be a fun chat. Either way, you are there for probably about 20 to 30 minutes when, Sagar, you notice that hooded figure walk into the tavern, sort of look around, and almost glide towards your table. And I will say you notice no one else seems to even acknowledge they're there.
Looking at Charlie, so paper beats rock, and rock beats the. Okay, so just real quick addendum. Do you see the person in the robes just walked in?
I assume I do?
You do.
Yep. Yeah. Is that your
would be the person.
benefactor?
Yes, she is.
Presuming is like I assume they're coming towards our table, yeah?
Yep, they almost glide into the seat opposite both of you, hood still up, hands crossed on the table in front of them, and you can see rings on their fingers. And again, very delicate feminine hands. And there's the most you can see of their face is a smile. And she looks over at you first and says, "Hello again, friend." And then towards Charlie. "Hello, Charlie."
Hello, but I don't think I know your name, friend.
"You don't need to. Not yet. It would be better for you if you didn't know it."
There are a lot of things that are probably better for me if I didn't, but here we are. But I'm told you're worth money, which means you can get away with most things.
And there's that chuckle again. "I'd like you both to do me a favor. Or another one," as she looks over at Sagar. "There is money in it for you, but it is of great importance."
Well, if you become my client, then I'm more than happy to.
And there's that tilt of the head and the slight nod. In a few moments, two people are going to walk into this tavern. A half-orc and an elf. They're going to be rather obvious, as she sort of chuckles to herself. "I need you to escort them out of the city.
Which way out of the city?
Any way out. There is, trouble brewing. And I believe some people are going to try to stop them leaving.
I believe they...
You are to give them that parcel."
To Charlie, I told you it was not for you.
I'm worried that maybe it's not for either of us, mate. As I heard just this morning, the incident, and I tapped the newspaper, I happened to be looking for a well-dressed half-orc and his elven companion. Apparently they were the only two to come out of that place last night. And now suddenly there's two looking to make their way out of the town very quickly. Coincidence? Maybe. Probably not, though.
How much is Speed worth to you?
And she looks at both of you. Hello, readers. 150 gold each.
Charlie, I think we can get them out of the city very fast, yes?
Readers.
Personally lead the guide myself.
It is of utmost importance that they get out of the city safe, well, and with this parcel. Something is about to happen, and I suggest you leave with them. though your paths will not stay aligned, you both have one together that will lead to greater things.
I don't have a lot of time for prophecies and that kind of thing, but you have money and you're here. They're going to be here soon. That I can deal with.
And she smiles and pulls out this purse and just drops it on the table, and you hear that heavy thunk of metal and coin, and she stands. Good luck, and watch the skies. And she turns to walk away. And no, go on.
I just turn to Saraga. Does that strike you as ominous in some way?
To be fair, I am marked by the draconic prophecy. Nothing is going to be not ominous in my life.
Oh, it's definitely one of those days. And
Glad to be a
hopefully,
friend.
in this instance, so am I. And then hopefully if we turn and look, the door bursts open.
Cinnamon and Basil, you're walking down this cobbled street. The door opens. A man is thrown out. A warforged stands there with a very large woman behind him. I told you! No more! And you see him stand up, brush this mud and sort of flick the wet sand off of him. Sort of shrugs it off, scowls at this woman, in this woman's direction, looking at you, and wanders into the pub opposite. And you're outside the Rusty Anchor. You can see the ships coming into port. You can see the Warforged guiding them in.
So, Cinnamon, if we see your parents later, I don't think we should tell them about how this part of the story went. This doesn't seem like the sort of place that I think is ideal.
It's just a tavern.
Yes, I agree. Let's go in.
Okay.
Who goes in first?
Oh, Cinnamon.
Basil's so much slower than Cinnamon. He can't do anything if he
She-
wants to.
If you can imagine her just skipping everywhere, that's pretty much how she gets everywhere.
And you sort of delightfully open that door shortly after it's been closed. And I think that's where we'll take our break for a moment. So everyone, go stretch, go get a drink of something, tell your pets you love them, and we will be back in a moment. Bye. Oh, hi, Cinnamon and Basil. How do you enter this tavern in a majestic, if not chaotic way?
As how Cinnamon always enters an establishment by skipping with a huge smile on her face and
And
then
plops
I will
herself
live
down
to
at a
keep
table.
Up, yeah.
And is Basalt like hobbling in after, or how does he just walk in?
He would have done it at a normal pace, but with Cinnamon going so quickly into such a disreputable looking tavern, he is going at a very fast clip. So he's doing double time on the cane trying to get himself through the door.
Yeah, and you sort of burst in, and Cinnamon, you sort of, you do the whole Tangled thing of Rapunzel bursting into that,
Yeah.
that really dodgy tavern full of thieves. It's that kind of feel as you walk in, and there's a lot of, they look happy, but it goes pretty quiet as the two of you walk in, especially in the fine wear that you are in. And I will say, Charlie and Sergar, you sort of pause for a moment, and it is obvious as this elf bursts in, huge grin skips across, and Charlie, you've been looking for that half orc with a cane, and it's almost so obvious as he's trying to almost chase this elf towards the table as she hurries in. And Cinnamon and Basil, do you just sit yourself at a table, or do you go to the bar? What do you do?
Yeah, I guess I go to the bar and wave down the barkeep, and I'm like, excuse me, can I see a menu?
You, for a moment, the woman looks to you, and then you hear a disgruntled shuffle. You hear a clank of wood, and walking up steps, and a dwarf appears from behind the bar itself. What do you mean, a menu?
Well, like a list of foods and drinks that your establishment offers.
Well, food-wise, there's breakfast, which you've only got half an hour to order. Or there's pie.
Oh, I want pie.
Pie.
I want breakfast, I think.
Okay. And drink. And then he pauses for a moment. How old are you? Looking over at Cinnamon.
What's the drinking age in Charm?
It's not 16.
Not with those papers.
Especially the way you skipped in here.
I'll take a glass of water.
I can push it to. We've got this great tomato juice thing. It comes with like a fruit or a vegetable to stir it to chop, but I'll get you water. Do you want still or sparkling? Considering there's no menu, he has still or sparkling water.
She really has still or sparkling water.
It's magic sparkling water. Okay?
Get the sparkling water. Sparkling water.
Yeah, I'll take the sparkling.
All
Matches
right.
my personality.
I'll bet it does. You go sit down at the table and I'll get it for you. Sir, what is it you wanted?
I will take the tomato juice.
He's like, Han, you're up! Like, as he sort of walks, as you see this woman, Hannah, sort of like walk over and start pouring this concoction into a glass and stick a bizarre vegetable in it. He's like, I'll bring it over in a second. You go get yourself sat down.
Thank you.
And do you sit at a table with other people, or do you find a free table, like near the fire, near the door?
Who are the most?
You all watched the entire time.
I'm gonna wave at them if they ever turn around, just to welcome them over to our table.
Oh, I'm going to that table.
You saying that out loud to Basso, or is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
just you?
Bassett's gonna go
Oh, let's
first,
sit at
someone goes
that
no matter
table.
what.
And
That's fine, yes.
she does the whole stick out her hands. Hello, my name's Cinnamon. Nice to meet you.
Sit down. Sit down.
She just grabs his hand because last time she was rejected, so she's not going through that
It's not
awkwardness
rejection
again.
issues.
Could I ask what your strength score is?
Oh God,
Oh,
I'm a rogue. It's 12.
I'm just gonna. Are you shaking my hand?
Yeah, I'm shaking your hand.
One shake, and I'm just putting your hand on the table.
Oh gosh. Hello. Oh.
One day Cinnamon will get a handshake in this game.
This is my friend Basalt. What's your name? Names.
My name is Serga, and I have the pleasure of introducing you to Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. I shake
Charlie's
Charlie's
kind of-
hand too.
Yeah,
I-
Charlie's like leaning over with his hand, kind of like, oh goodness.
I did not raise my hand off yours.
Okay, all right. Oh, she's gonna try then, but it's gonna be like one of those like. Ugh.
Wait. Are you doing like a sleight of hand check? Are you trying to get out so you can shake his hand, or are you resisting?
Oh yeah. I think she like probably tries, realizes she can't move her hand, and then just slips her hand out.
Sleight of
Not
hand
a
check.
sleight of hand check.
Versus, I'll say athletics. So you try to hold it there.
Oh, I just wanted it down on the table at first. If she wants out, I'm not going to be like, no.
Oh, nat 20.
Yes.
I gotta shake that hand.
I'm gonna shake that hand.
But yeah, you slip your hand out and you hold it out to Charlie.
I grab his hand. It's more of a force upon him.
Be my friend.
Oh,
Be my
very
friend.
aware of who you are. Thank you. Please have a seat. Oh goodness, you're, yeah, half orc, Skane, and elf, and you're needing to leave the city.
I like look down. Like, is it like written on my body somewhere?
Please.
How did you know that? How did they know that?
No, saves time.
We are mind readers.
Can we make him do a deception check?
Yes, and you're gonna have to do an insight one to come
Yes.
back.
Oh my god. 13.
Yeah, you think he reads minds?
Yes. Really?
No.
Oh my gosh.
No, we've just been paid to escort you and your friend out of Shards. As well, we have a package for you.
There is also
Yes.
a small, sorry friend, if you wish to talk.
Oh, you
Yep.
friend.
There's something I also wish to be asking you about, just for my own curiosity. You're wearing very nice clothing, aren't you? Would you been anywhere interesting, maybe?
Well, we're friends with the Alessandro.
Alice, does that name mean anything to me?
If you've been in the city a lot, I would say there is an elf that dresses the higher families in Shan, and he refers to himself as the Alessandro. Most people just call him Alessandro, but it's kind of known that he insists that people call him the Alessandro.
And just the Alessandro, presuming you're right, he doesn't always make things for just anybody, for any occasion. You wouldn't happen to be at a ball last night, were you? Curiosity.
I kind of realize that we probably shouldn't just be revealing our entire hand. I think Cinnamon's kind of learning, so she looks at Basalt to be like,
Character development.
Yay!
Well, we should probably just open the package and go with them.
Can we open the package first?
The instructions were unclear. It is yours, so who am I to say no?
I love packages. She just
Yeah, you shred this brown paper, sort of like launch it over the table as these breakfasts and this pie comes up and more drinks. I will say, Charlie, you notice that Basil is drinking the very red drink. And Cinnamon, in your hands, you hold it is the journal. And on the front, tied with the string, just on paper, written in ink, says, "From a friend."
Where did you get this?
I was given it this morning.
We have our people that we know, and you have yours, the Alessandro, as it were. But you wouldn't happen to seen any royal family around by chance? Just wondering.
Should we tell them, Basalt?
Honestly, I wouldn't know which ones were royals and which ones were just dragon marked, but I mean, kind of a moot point.
Yeah, we went to a party last night. It was my first party. I joined a cult.
And you see a burn. It's almost like a branding in her palm of 2 crows.
I'm gonna roll religion on that.
Yep. You can roll
I
that.
also make a roll to see if I recognize it.
Absolutely.
Arcana or religion? Sorry.
Religion. I'll say you can roll Arcana. So, Segar, if you want to roll Arcana. Yeah. Oh dear. You don't seem to recognize it. It almost has like a thought at the back of your head, like you feel like you recognize it, Segar, but you're not 100%. But Charlie, you sort of focus in on it, and as it does to you, it glows this sort of purple, almost as if magic starts to run through the pattern. And you see the 2 crows throw their heads back and caw before they reassemble. And you haven't seen this symbol anywhere other than the storybooks. Maybe you've seen them on, you know that children have been told these stories and things like that. It's a very old tale. You've never seen it, like, literally in the flesh, or anything like you've never seen it on something before, never seen it outside of paper, of Sulkatesh, the Lich.
Does it look new?
It looks very new, maybe as if it was done last night. It looks very fresh, but it does look like it's already started to heal.
I'm gonna look over to the half-orc. I don't think they've introduced themselves yet, have they?
Cinnamon definitely has.
Cinnamon definitely has.
I mean, she'll do it again. Basalt, did you introduce yourself, or?
I don't believe so.
I think Cinnamon introduced you. I think.
So, turn to Basalt. Are you this one's carer? Like, the one who looks after her?
No, we're just friends. You know, we're kind of equal partners in this whole venture.
Then you have very poor taste in partners, mate. That... I would not want to be burning that onto my skin, I'll tell you that.
I think you're presuming quite a few things there. I don't think this was exactly as consensual as you're assuming it was, but additionally, Cinnamon, I'm going to just take the, what kind of vegetable did I get in this tomato juice? Is it cinnamon? Is it like a celery?
You can see that the one that's already on the table was a celery type thing, and this one is a very bizarre aubergine shape that's been half cut onto the glass and shoved in, and it's yellow and kind of spotted.
Right. So it's a thin eggplant that's yellow and spotted, is what I'm hearing.
Oh yes.
Okay. Well, Basil just like drinks the drink and like chomps it to pieces kind of furiously, and he like is like playing with the top of his shirt. He looks like he wants to like say something unkind, but is not letting himself do it. And another thing, this breakfast is delicious.
Could I incite his just like him like very aggressively?
I think
burning
you'd
himself
know
up?
he's agitated. I don't think you need to insight check that again. It's like, I think you could tell he's agitated.
If you have words you want to speak apart from the ones about the breakfast, speak them.
No, I think that's plenty. I mean, honestly, Cinnamon is an excellent adventurer who did nothing wrong, and we are the only two people who lived out of that party. So if it was a choice between having a mark put on your palm and passing away, I think it was a good choice.
I am not a suspicious man, but you two are the only survivors, and she is granted. There's an easy
Yes.
connotation there, is there not?
Well,
Yes,
I look
again,
like I
so-
could kill anybody.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
I asked for that one. Okay.
But
Literally.
in this case, if you don't want to get on the airship with us, there is nothing stopping you. We would be happy to enjoy our breakfasts, take this very large stone, and leave.
Well, if you're going to go to the airships, we'll be happy to escort you there.
Why are you helping us?
75 gold.
It's a
More
good
or
price.
less. A client asked me to. I'm going to turn to Cinnamon and kind of like lean in quite close, very seriously for a quick sec. Listen, you seem like a lovely person. Really. Sorry. Do you know what that thing is on your hand?
Well, I learned yesterday that it was the mark of a lich named Succotash, which sounds bad.
That's bad. Bad is when you stub your toe on a door. This is when the door, building, and rest of the world collapses on you afterwards. This is that kind of bad. This isn't meant to be real. Like it's not meant to exist.
Well, no one put it that way, Mr. Debbie Downer.
Well, yes, that's what the cult would be doing, not telling you the bad stuff.
Well, I will have to say, it wasn't as if I joined of my own volition. There was kind of a join or you'll die implication.
The preference would to be dying, yes.
I mean, I'm only 16. I have lots of years to live. Besides, you don't know that this isn't reversible, and that's what we're trying to do, right, Basalt? We're trying to reverse this.
Yeah,
think
about
so.
about the reversal. Do you mind if I see your hand one more time?
Sure.
I'm just gonna grip her by the wrist and like with a thumb try and press out the brand with the lay on hands.
Ow, ow, ow.
I'm gonna use 2 points.
Okay.
Does anything change on it?
It lessens, and I will say that you feel okay. So for at first, Cinnamon, you can at first it starts hurting because of the pressure,
Mm-hmm.
but then you can feel almost like as if someone runs cold water over a burn, and it feels rather soothing. And you notice as he holds onto your hand, it's almost like it heals, as in like it's healed days and days. You can still see very lightly the scar, but very lightly. It's not something people would just spot straight away, but you can just about see it. But I'll say, Sergar, as you do, you feel like a static and then a sharp pain that almost throws you off. Like there's the best way to describe it is like someone hits your hand, throwing you off of hers.
Cinnamon, was it not?
Yes.
Okay.
Cinnamon.
You're going to have a very complicated life. I am not a doctor. I am simply a humble servant of the Silver Flame. But my recommendation is to cut off the arm.
You may not know this, but a lot of my work involves both arms.
House Kenneth makes excellent replacements.
I happen to like this one.
Okay, please hold still.
Uh,
Um,
I'm gonna snatch my handbag. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, you can snatch
It's
the handbag.
it's still like just the same pressure with my thumb.
He just takes out Aurora. That's what you thought.
Yeah, I totally thought that.
I am no doctor.
Well, we can't get rid of that right now. And far be it from me to tell you how to live your life and join whatever cult you want, Cinnamon. Will I say, be careful. Maybe death seemed like the wrong option at the time, but don't come to regret that later. In the meantime, you have to get out of the city, as does your friend. Once you finish your breakfast, of course. You're 16, for goodness sake. You have to eat.
She's like shoveling the pie in her mouth. What kind of pie is it?
Suspicious pie. You're not too sure exactly what's in it.
Like a meat pie or like a
You
fruit
think
pie?
it's me? Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Is this like when we find out what English
Surprise
mince is?
pie. This is like surprising pie.
Okay, all right.
I'm just hearing
Every
Sweeney
bite.
Todd in my head.
No, it's
Exactly.
not that British, no.
I mean, is it good?
Oh, it's good. You just don't know what it is. A
Find
lot
it
of
a
good
minute.
herbs in there as well.
The best not to think about it.
I mean, I'm not eating it, so I'm not going to worry. I feel between the meat of the pie and the brand of the ham, one has priority.
This is a very... It's not a grimy tavern. Like, it doesn't look like grim or dirty or anything. It's literally, it's down by the docks. And you know people come in here. And it's like a churn out. There is nothing else on the menu other than pie and breakfast. Like, what you get is what you get. But you do finish your breakfast, your bizarre tomato drinks, and your pies. What do you do?
I think someone said something about an airship. Is that your plan?
Seems as good as any. I've never been on an airship before.
Being in this city for a while, would I know if the airships or the lightning rail, I think someone said, is like closer, like more immediately available kind of thing?
You definitely know, as well as Sergar, because he came in on the lightning rail, that if you head towards the lightning rail, you can head up to one of the higher levels with some of the big steps, the big hovering sort of platforms that all of the airships depart from. And it's very much a buy a ticket and get on kind of thing. But you know it is going to be further up the city. It's going to be, maybe like a 20-minute walk.
Right, then, if you're all finished, perhaps we should be heading off. One other thing, though. You haven't been followed by anyone, because I was about to start looking for you, and if I was, other people will be too.
There was that really weird guy outside of the tavern, but I didn't catch his name. He was really rude. He didn't say hi to us.
I think he was part
Good
of House
speak.
Kenneth as well.
Interesting. How's Kenneth? Wonder what they're doing around here. Turn to say, Serga. Serga, did you see anyone outside, aside from the one making his way out the door when you arrived?
No, the only people that I saw upon entering was a man being thrown out.
If you check my watch, yeah, there should be again soon. Don't worry. Otherwise,
You do
I
watch
assume
him
we're-
walk back in straight past Blue. He seems to go and take another seat at the table closest to the fire.
2:30. Well, if you're ready, I suppose we'd best be making our way through the city.
Let's go.
Oh, you're so chipper. All right, get up, make my way off.
Cinnamon
Okay.
skips behind.
Uh,
My heart.
oh, such a sweet cinnamon roll.
Who joined a
Basalt?
cult?
It's all fine.
On
Everything's fine.
accident.
It sounds like
Okay.
an advertisement for Eberron. Play Eberron. Join a cult.
Join a cult, yeah. And so you all leave the Rusty Anchor, and you get the wave from Denick, Charlie, but you enter into the city streets, and you start to walk through a lot of the streets, the winding streets, heading up towards where the lightning rail is and where the main pathway is up. You can see lots of the markets going, lots of people going about their daily business. Could you all roll a perception check for me, please? Or is it not loaded? Oh, okay. Okay, so Saragar and Basalt, you're walking maybe at the back. Maybe because a lot of these streets are uphill, it's a little bit tough on your leg at times. There's been a lot of walking and running recently, Basalt, and you both linger behind a little bit as Cinnamon skips up front with Charlie. And you both walk, and this feels strange. Like it feels like you're being watched. And Charlie, you spot this first. Cinnamon, you get a weird feeling. Like you're skipping just behind him. And every now and then you look at some of the people going about their business. You see a woman at a market stall pulling all these flowers out. You can see a man and a small gnome with those big dishes cooking up all of those sort of stir-fry type meals. But as you're looking at them, that glitch, again, that face change for a moment. And Charlie, you are, I would say, always very aware of your own kind, seeing Warforged maybe greeting each other as you go. And the Warforged mostly, especially in Shan, are pretty friendly. They interact a lot like humans now that they're there a lot more often.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say you notice a lot of them won't even look at you. And they feel wrong. You being one of them, you're not too sure what it is, but they're moving wrong. They're not right. There's something wrong. Almost for a moment you feel like you can see a shadow-like hand slip down the back of one of them as it walks past, its eyes flickering yellow as you go. And you can see overhead, further up the platforms, the whirring of these airships as they go. But particular 19, Charlie, you notice some of these Warforged have stopped. And they're standing in the alleyways watching the group you're leading up the streets.
I'm going to try as subtly as I can, whisper back to Cinnamon. Pretty sure jig's up. And this is going to become a lot faster of a journey than we anticipated. We're probably going to have to run.
Okay. Did you see the faces too?
The
The face is glitching. The face is...
what faces? Where did you see that?
Some of the people just... Like, when they turn, their faces seem to move in and out.
Based on that, can I recognize that as something?
Roll another. I will let you use either perception or investigation, as you're now specifically looking.
Alrighty. Skills.
I will also say, Basalt and Saragar, you can notice that Cinnamon and Charlie are talking, and you feel like something's up. And Charlie, you see absolutely nothing. You sort of almost awkwardly stare at the little old lady stood in the corner by her market stall.
I'm going to whisper over to Basalt. So, Charlie looks concerned. If something happens, what can you do?
Oh, well, ideally, nothing. But if I have to, I suppose I could set something on fire or cause an earthquake or something like that.
Those are two very polar opposite reactions, yes.
I find they go together rather well.
Sure. Serga is just kind of tightening the grip on his gauntlets as they're walking.
If you're now more aware, I will say that Basalt and Saragar can roll another perception or investigation if you want to, but that's up to you.
Well, free checks. I mean, who wants to say no to that?
12.
Still perception, because I can roll an extra thing.
Okay. Both of you don't see the Warforged or anything like that. I will say that, Basalt, because you were aware of what you saw before, it's almost that your brain takes you back to it. You think, you haven't seen it, but you remember that almost the puppeteering shadow helping the Warforged walk. And Sergar, you sort of look over at some of these people and you notice they're staring now. You can see multiple people stopping, staring. Every now and then one of their faces, almost like a glitch, as if it shakes it off. And then they start staring at you again.
Sorry. I was gonna say, talking to Cinnamon, I think I gotta slow my walk down and hopefully like hers a little bit and kind of regroup with everyone else just so I could like let them know also.
She stops skipping after she's realized that something's weird.
You probably noticed it too, didn't you? Say to the other two.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed.
May not know this. Some of the Warforged around the docks have been missing recently. Not coming back. And I'm worried maybe they are. Somewhat. Kind of looking around, illustrating towards them. Oh, and also people's faces apparently doing things.
They're doing that, like, changing thing.
Like a disguise of some sort?
Maybe we should just walk quickly with purpose?
This I am fond of. Cinnamon, do you have any weapons on you?
Oh, like this? And I pull out my... and I pull out my rapier.
Yes.
Yeah, like that.
Great craftsmanship. I am so glad you showed me. I say as I just kind of like motion to put it away.
And she like very confusedly puts it away.
I wonder where you got it. Could you please show me? I am in urgent need of a new sword. As I'm just motioning with my head to keep moving.
Would I know any back streets that we could kind of take to not be like right along the main kind of walkway or something?
Absolutely. Roll me a history or insight just to see which ones.
Insight.
Okay. You know these cities pretty well. You have spent a lot of time going up and down these alleyways and things like that, and you know that by turning off to the left, you know there is a set of alleyways that keeps away from crowds, and it's a very narrow, almost very tall staircase, a very old one that was here when Sham was being built, as they said. They call it the tower staircase because of how narrow it is and how tall it is, and it takes you all the way up to the top. And you know by following these, you can turn down there.
So in that case, kind of gesture everyone else towards that. Maybe not the main road is the best way. If you'd follow me, I'll guide you. I'd like to.
I'm going to stay in the back and let Cinnamon and Basalt get ahead of me.
Follow quickly, but not skipping quickly.
Now, as we're going to as we start going through this alleyway, I would like to cast Pass Without Trace around myself, and hopefully around everyone else if they're near enough.
Okay. As you go, I will say, as you're turning down, in fact, probably Sergar would notice this. You can watch Charlie starting to cast, but you notice those people that were standing in the streets are now starting to congregate into a group and following all of you up the street and around this corridor. And the faster you walk, the faster they walk as Charlie starts to cast. And actually, Sergar, if you are at the back, can you roll one more Perception or Arcana check, please?
Perception it is.
18. You look back for a moment and you see these faces change. You see these huge, bizarre, shadow-like things clinging to the backs of these Warforged. And these look like normal people until that jutter. And as they do, you see very piercing, white eyes. And as their face changes, you see their hair grow white and then flash back to normal. And there's a moment where you meet your gaze with one of the ones at the front, which is a fairly older woman, short, and sort of a little bit hunched over. And she looks at you as you both stare at each other. Then her face changes. Her skin almost completely clear, almost completely translucent. White eyes, long sort of pointed ears. This white hair starts to flow. And she opens her mouth and lets out this screech as this whole group start to charge and run after all of you down this alleyway that Charlie is leading you. The whole group. And you notice they're coming out of every passageway, every shop. The doors are being flung open and these things are pouring out of it.
Run!
Run! Good idea. And
Cinnamon knows that Basalt can't run very fast, so she
Why does
is
it always have to
going.
be running.
She is going to run behind Basalt and kind of push him along, but she will not run faster than Basalt.
Okay.
How heavy is Basalt?
Heavy, I would say. Yeah, like probably 200 pounds, something like that.
I got a 14 strength. Could I help him move faster?
Roll an athletics check for me, please. Okay. It's more than anything, you're guiding him. You're sort of there with Cinnamon. You can see Charlie up ahead who is sort of beckoning for you all to follow as these things start running towards you. You can see as they run, their faces flash, they change. You notice these shadows that grow up behind the Warforged with these long tendrilled fingers. As all the Warforged look up and their eyes flashed red. And these tendrilled fingers seem to seep into their shoulders, their elbows, their arms, almost like puppets as they get them to run after you. I need you all to make an athletics or an acrobatics check to get through these.
Well, the thing about having a advantage is if you don't use it, you'll never get another one. So I'm going to use it now.
Okay. The look on these things' faces kicks Basil into action after seeing this. I'll say, describe it for me, Basil. Why is he suddenly able to move quicker? Is there a reason, or?
He's very willing to hurt himself because Cinnamon being behind him is terrifying, and he doesn't want anybody getting hurt because he's so slow. So he's just going to muscle it, and he's just like running with his leg fairly fixed as hard as he can.
Yeah, you are moving fast, and you're moving quickly, and you're sort of Cinnamon, you notice that your hand almost leaves his back as he sort of starts to go a lot faster, but on an 11, you have that moment where you look back and it slows you right down. And you can see Serga, you are right beside her. And Cinnamon, you slow down, and not in fear, but you almost freeze for a moment seeing these creatures as they start to crawl along the floors on all fours. Even though they're on human form, they seem to get down onto all fours as they do. And Charlie, you look back for a second as you hear the yell, as you hear these screeches, and you don't see the one that is further up the side of the wall towards the staircase as it throws itself at you in its full translucent form. And I need you all to roll initiative with this one, please, as it lands onto Charlie at the front.
If I roll poorly now, I'll roll better later.
I'm hoping you are correct.
Definitely not a superstition.
Okay. Basil, as you have taken the lead, almost running at that moment, you see Charlie look back, and as you do, you see this creature sort of hissing, launch itself from the top wall, where it looks to be as if it was clinging like a spider as it throws itself onto Charlie, taking him out, sort of just like skidding across the thing, and is on top of him. What would you like to do?
So we have one opponent, or we're also counting all of the people behind us?
There's one right now, but if you don't kill it quick, they're running.
So what you're saying is you'd like me to kill it quickly. Got it. Okay, well, if you insist, that's fine. Well, I guess I will just use 3 scorching rays on it, because, you know, that's what you do. So here we go. 1 ray, 2 rays, 3 rays.
Oh.
Okay. 2 of those hit. 1 of them is a nat 1.
Yeah, I figured that one was no good. So, let's see. Did it give me damage?
Yeah, you just click reader.
Boop.
Okay.
That's so low.
Well, describe what this looks like as Basil is staggering forward, and you can see this thing hit Charlie, sort of throwing him up against the wall of the other alleyway.
I want to say Basil's not trying really hard, but he just like pulls up one sleeve and just like throws the scorching ray back and kind of over his shoulder, and one like ricochets against the building next to him, and the other 2 go zooming back.
Yeah, you have that moment where you throw sort of two, and Charlie, you're there looking at this creature as it's holding onto you, screeching. Its jaw drops. This white translucent skin. You can almost see through it as you see Basalt throw these rays towards you. You see it hit, and it screeches even more. And you duck for a moment as it lets go, as the other one ricochets just above your head, off down the alleyway, as this thing is currently looking in Basalt's direction. And Saga, it is your turn as you are running down this alleyway. You're right next to Cinnamon. You've seen Charlie sort of been thrown and Basalt throw these flames towards it.
And it's still up?
It's still up. If anything, it's now it's holding on to Charlie, not in a resisting kind of way, but it's focused on Basalt. And you can see it almost climbing off of Charlie, starting to work its way towards Basalt.
I am going to cast Divine Favor.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see here. There we go. Oh, I guess it just rolls the damage when I do that.
Yeah, it's a straight up.
Yeah. So I'll cast that and try to attack with my longsword.
Okay, roll the attack for me.
Will do.
That is a
12.
hit. That is a hit. 12 is its thing, so.
Okay. And then with Divine Favor up, should I roll? Or keep the one I rolled before?
No, that's the one. That's the one there. So that should be fine. What does this look like as you throw this divine sort of favor and bring your longsword down on this creature?
Rushing back over to Charlie, I bring my sword out, and my arms are covered in silver fire as I cut against this thing's back.
You and Charlie, you're there as this thing turns, and almost in a blink, you see Saga there, and that crash down and that blazing sort of silver flame as you hear this thing sort of like arch its back and screech, pushing itself off, and you see its fingers start to stretch longer, almost into these pinpoint-like claws. And it is Cinnamon's go. And Cinnamon, you are at the back of the group. You're sort of like, you're trying to run. You can see them closing in. But this thing is on top.
All right. So it's still not dead. I'm running up if I can reach it with my movement of 35 feet. Okay,
Yes,
so I
definitely.
get there. And Sega is there. So I'm assuming I have sneak attack. I have.
You do.
Yes. All right. Excellent. So I'm going to pull out my dagger and my rapier. I have 2 weapon fighting, so I'm just gonna first attack it with my rapier. Hopefully hit it. And then yes.
Definitely.
Yes. All right. So that's 8 piercing damage and then 8 sneak attack damage. So 16.
16.
And then I'm going to attack it with my dagger as well as my bonus action. But that's only a 9.
Okay. Doesn't quite hit.
Okay.
You sort of, you run forward, and all of you see almost this tiny little elf sort of launch itself through the air at this creature as much as Sergar's blade comes through it, there's then these 2 sort of this rapier that slashes and this dagger that sort of it strikes it down in the shoulder as it screeches, and you're still holding on to your blade, Cinnamon, as it's sort of you're almost attached to it. You can let go, but at the moment you're sort of almost wrestling it back and off of Charlie, and as you try and strike again, it ducks, throwing you off the side, and Charlie, it is your go.
Right. So I reach behind me, kind of like, I assume I still can. I kind of like pull out my stave quarterstaff type thing, kind of like all knotted at the top, this long wooden staff. And I'm going to cast Shillelagh on it. You see as like green arcane energy runs down, and the knot kind of twists and grows into like a full, like almost club-like weapon. And then I'm going to look down at the creature and say, Guess it's just not your day then, mate. And bash it in the head with this shillelagh.
Roll for me.
Alright. If that just works. Oh no.
No, I'm afraid it doesn't quite hit, but as you do, you sort of swing, and as it does, it rolls slightly to the side as that burst of green sort of glows, and it looks up at you and it just hisses with these long, almost needle-like teeth. And
Sorry,
Basil,
mate. Not interested.
And Basil, it is your turn. This thing, I will say, is bleeding heavily. You can see this almost, and it is red blood that is coming out of this, and you notice it as it sort of tries to back when, as it hissed at Charlie, you'll see more than anyone, its face flicker to an old woman, to a young boy, to a man, to a warforged, all over, as if it's repeating itself.
Would I recognize what... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, now that I've got a little more information about the switchy faces stuff, could I try and recognize it this time?
This looks like a changeling, but there's something wrong with it. This isn't a normal changeling behavior. You've met changelings, you've had drinks in a pub with a changeling. This doesn't look right.
Oh, you're not well. Salt, back to you.
Okay, so at this point, I guess I'm just going to do a firebolt, because I only set things on fire. That's all I do. Yes.
That hits. Describe how you kill it.
I set it on fire with a firebolt. So Basil turns, again, he's now fully turned and facing this thing, and just like does an underhand throw, and the firebolt just kind of zooms between Serga and Cinnamon, and
Yeah, and you see this sort of flame almost just burst over this creature as you hear that screech, and it almost fizzles up as it sort of starts to shrink and wither, and it is laid there dead, sort of not really what a changeling would look like anymore. And this swarm of them have started to come down this alleyway. You notice one or two of them have taken to the walls. And Charlie, you know that staircase is round the corner.
Yeah, I suggest we all run.
Agreed.
Kind of shove at least someone.
One more acrobatics or athletics check from all of you, please.
I don't wanna.
Oh my gosh, how is it possible? I had 6 to acrobatics.
Oh,
Guys.
Cool
Okay.
one shot.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's been great playing. I love it.
I'll see you all later. Have fun.
I will say Charlie and Cinnamon. Cinnamon, if anything, you and Charlie are going up together. Basil and Sergar, you are up ahead. But so Charlie, that you feel this thing grab your ankle and pull you over. But in that, Cinnamon is right next to you, and you don't grab Cinnamon, but you sort of get Cinnamon. You get knocked down almost in this scuffle. This thing is trying to crawl towards you. It's not attacking. It's literally as if it's trying to stop you. I will say Basil and Sergar can see this.
All right, I am going. Are we on the staircase right now?
Yes, you are on the staircase.
Do I want to be? Do I want to be cool with this? I'm going to.
Yes.
I'm going to jump down at it.
Yes.
I'm
Are you attacking, or are you just literally jumping on it?
attacking while falling at it.
Okay, yeah, then roll an attack. And a athletics just to see how badass the jump is.
Oh, not very.
Oh,
Never mind. Let's see here.
Yes.
Let
Okay.
me roll my divine smite or divine favor because that's still going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to use divine smite.
Yes, go for it. Yeah.
18 points of damage.
Yeah, you see this creature, which isn't quite one of these changelings, it's something else. It's almost this shadowy like form that has left its warforged. As you see the warforged just sort of slumped at the side of the wall, and you land, and this shadow, weirdly, you feel your blade sink into it. What does it look like as Sergar jumps over Charlie and Cinnamon onto this thing?
That he's just on fire.
Just this blazing silver flame, and Charlie and Cinnamon, you sort of look up as he comes sort of launching over and crashing down into this shadow, and just almost like an explosion of light as this blaze sort of igniting some of the steps, and some of them start to sort of flare back as they're trying to get through it. You can get up again and start running.
Oh.
What I do.
I'm gonna have Charlie up to help him run.
Yeah. Keep doing that. More and more of that. Thank you. Pat on the shoulder, run.
Okay. And you can... Yes, go Basil, go.
Oh no, Basil's in the back jogging and saying, Cinnamon, you don't have to wait for me. Just go ahead. I know you're faster than I am.
I think you're up ahead. You're ahead of me right now.
Well, now I'm hanging back because I'm getting attacked.
Like as far ahead, I was like, guys, go on.
And you're all running up these stairs, and from around you in the city, you can hear screams, you can hear shouts. You feel like this is a full city almost attack, or something is definitely working its way through the streets as you head up to the top. And Charlie, you know this walkway. You know when you get to the top, there is a huge platform with airships, and you reach up there. All of your legs are aching as you see these things scurrying up the steps after you, still running, still charging after you. You reach that platform, and you reach these airships, and as you do, you look up, and there is a bizarre purple glow to the sky, as if a storm was coming and as if it was brewing. You can hear that distant thunder and the clash of lightning. As in the distance, you see something brewing. And I will say, everyone roll me a history check, please.
That's about right.
It makes sense that Cinnamon wouldn't know, to be fair. Okay. You, Charlie, for you, it's almost like you shake your head a couple of times. Like, it's like something is stopping you from remembering, like a memory. Almost like a feeling is locking something off. And Sergar, you look over at this platform, and this storm is brewing in the direction where Sire once was.
No. No! How close are we to the airship?
You are right on the platform. Charlie, you can see airships lining up. Half of them aren't taken by anyone, but there is this panic down the other end of the platform where you can see some people just piling onto and slashing the ropes and taking off.
Got one?
I think they've got the right idea. Any of them. We know that someone here's got a sword. I think that'll do good. And I'll just point to whatever the immediately closest airship is.
You can see a fairly large airship. It's not like a big transporter or anything, but it normally harbors a small crew. You can see the sails have been let loose down this honeycomb of gold where the energy is surging through them. Someone is going along and setting off all of the ships, making sure the energy is flowing through them. You can see this, on this ship in particular, this air genasi, these bright white eyes, and if her hair seems to move as well as her clothes, as if she was in a constant breeze, as she is throwing her hands up, and this almost white, almost silvery, golden glow of magic is being thrust into these sails. You can see the platform to get on board.
I'm hauling myself over there.
Same with Cinnamon. She's running as fast as she can.
think you said like so we've all like come up the staircase at this point, yeah, and they're like coming up behind us, right?
Yes, correct.
They can run on walls. Dang, never mind. I will
Only
run
a few
after
of
these.
them can. Not all of them.
In that case, as they're running past the ship, I'm gonna turn around and emanate out in front of me a fog cloud and see if I can kind of direct it to go down like the last part of the stairs, in the hopes that like maybe they'll get confused or they'll just fall off or they won't be able to see where they're going.
I will say you can do that as we're out of combat, so just describe what it looks like as you block all of these things.
Yeah, I think like he incants to himself, like muttering under his breath, and then like once the spell is complete, pulls this small thread of like billowing wind as it forms, and then extends his hands out, and it just kind of like it's almost like a tornado forms that way, but without all the power and force, but purely to look at, and then it washes over, like kind of pouring down the oversides where the stairs aren't, and kind of creeping along down that way out of sight.
Yeah, you see it almost like water filling every gap that it can find. As this wave of fog goes across, you can still hear the skittering and the snarling and the hissing somewhere, but it seems disorientated. Simon and Basalt, have you made your way onto the ship?
Yes.
Yes.
You can see this air genasi even looking at all of you, sort of gesturing for you to come on. And what are you doing, Charlie, as you're casting? Are you running for the ship as the ship has been struck and starting to leave?
Yeah, once the spell is cast, then I will turn and run towards the ship.
Okay. I was going to say you can get on it as the platform goes. You sort of run up, and on the last second, you get on. This air genasi's hand comes out to you and grabs your forearm and pulls you on.
Yes.
And you just hear her just like, okay, everyone, hold on. And there's a moment where she walks up to where the sails are, where these two levers. See, this doesn't look like a normal airship. This looks modified. As she slams one of these levers down, and you feel a propulsion. Can you all make a deck save, please? As this huge amount of energy seems to hit like rockets. I feel really bad for that.
It's theoretical.
Do I still have an advantage or no?
You do-
So,
Can I try to
If
make
I
sure
do,
he
I'd
doesn't
like to
fall
use
on?
it.
Can I help Basalt not fall to the ground instantly?
Oh gosh, yes. I'll say. Anyway, Cinnamon, you rolled a 24.
Oh yes, great.
Don't try to give yourself an 8. Basil, you weren't ready. You're sort of getting yourself steady as this gets thrown up, and this ship doesn't just hover and take off forward. It starts to go up through the clouds, and you're thrown backwards. And Saragar, you almost sort of collide with him. You manage to get yourself behind him and grab him as you both slam into the back of one of the ship's sides. And Cinnamon, how does Cinnamon do it? What does it look like? Does she stay still and then just everyone else moves? Or...
No, I think she just automatically grabs onto whatever is stable on the ship. Looks very cool though. She's just like grabs on and then like doesn't go anywhere.
You can see this rope that you sort of lash yourself with one arm as you hold on to it, and it keeps you very stable as you will feel that rush of air as you're going up and up, these huge golden honeycomb sails billowing. What does it look like with Charlie? Because Charlie got a nat 20. What does it look like on your dex check?
For Charlie, like, he's been on these ships. It was a long time ago, well, a reasonably little while ago now, but he was on these ships a bunch. Like, I don't even think he really thinks about it. His attention's more focused on seeing if everyone else has fallen off. So his back leg just kind of braces, he turns slightly parallel, leans at the hips just a little bit, and then continues as normal, completely unnoticed.
So the Warforged in you just plants your feet on the ground, and everyone, you feel this rushing gush of like air sort of hitting your face. It's whipping your coats and your clothes and your hair all around you as you're heading up towards this cloud, heading up towards to break through it.
This
Yes?
sorry.
No,
So
no, no,
this
go.
purple, does it look similar to the purple I kind of saw of that symbol?
Oh, yes.
I'd like to cast Detect Magic.
On what
Directed. Like, I assume if we're trying to break through the cloud, we're progressively getting closer to it.
Yeah, you are literally coming up through to break through it.
Basically, yeah, the whatever magical effect is making this happen is what I'm trying to target.
Okay. Roll for me.
Oh goodness, that's something. Is that, what kind of check is that with Detect Magic?
Oh, actually, it's not. Hang on, it's not. Okay, right. You're going to do a Detect Magic, but I need you to roll an Arcana as well for reasons.
I understand. Alright, come on, give me that 20 again.
Close. You, for a moment, as you stabilize, you burst through that cloud. You can feel this energy, this magic, like radiating off of this cloud as everyone is trying to hold on and grip. Your eyes focus. And there is magic here, but it is old. Very, very old. And the best way to describe it is an awakening spell. And you break through the clouds, and as you do, there's a moment of where you can just feel that wet from like the going through the cloud itself, where the condensation sort of hits and everything stops as you break through the cloud itself. And there's a moment of calm and almost a very surreal feeling about it, as if you just drift on this ship. And that Air Genasi looks back at you like, where the hell did you come from? And what was that misty thing you did? And you jumping on the... What the hell was that?
Hi. My name's Cinnamon.
Alara!
These are my friends. This is Basalt, and this is Serga and Charlie.
Hi. Welcome aboard my ship, I guess.
Sorry for dropping by unexpected.
It's fair, I like visitors. So, what's that? And she looks out into the distance where you see that purple storm.
That's bad news, I'm afraid. Turn to Cinnamon. Well, good news for your cult. Looks like it's Christmas. And Santa's coming home.
I don't know who Santa is or what Christmas is, but none of these things sound good.
Well, whoever that cult is, their lord and master, Sulkatesh, that is an awakening spell, and it's an old one, and it's a big one. Those three things point only to one outcome, and it's probably the reason that our friend, Gerber Sergei, asked to get you out of here.
Can I look down at the scar and see if there's any changes to it?
It looks very healed since Sergar did lay on hands. You notice it glow very softly, almost as if you just miss it, like a sheen going over metal, that purple. And as you stand there on the deck, all of you, there's a moment where you feel a knock on the boat, as if it gets lurched to one side. You all manage to gain your ground, but you notice this Air Genasi, like, what was that? And she runs over to the side. and tries to look down through the cloud. And then there's that knock again, a heavy knock, and you feel the ship turn. And beneath you, you feel this huge sort of beat of wings. This huge sort of sound of echoing of a roar. And there's one more knock as you feel something go as it hits the boat, as if you're passing over rocks or a wave. And then just ahead, breaking through the clouds, is a huge set of wings. As a dragon emerges through this purple cloud, sailing forwards, diving deep again beneath, and then gliding, its wings spread wide. Fire flares from its mouth as it heads towards Sire. And I think that is where we will leave this episode of Shards of Siberys. So, huzzah! We will, thank you very much. This was amazing. I loved this session. I love that Blue Box Pirate has a Santa emoji ready. Also, we will head round. We will go in reverse order. And I would love to hear, again, like where we can find you on Twitter, if there's anything else you do, and also your favorite bit. So, let's start with the episode wonderful Fake High. Oh,
hello. Hi. Oh, hi. My name is Faye. You can find me on Twitter at Captain Fake Eye. I'm also part of 2 other podcasts that play D&D. How the Quest Was Won, which is at How the Quest, and also Misfits Guide to Adventuring at Misfits Guide. My favorite part of today's episode was our fight scene. Just the idea of this flashing light of Paladin just jumping over everybody.
It's just the epic moment.
Epic moment of just poof, and then like launching himself onto this creature and killing him in one blow is just amazing. So yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then we are going to hop down to our very own Warforged, Charlie. Oh, hi.
Yeah. Hi. Wow. Whoa. What a first experience this was. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, also, I gotta just say, Cinnamon, I adore your bubbly character because it's not like it's strangely, it's so different to everything else I've played with because no one ever plays happy-go-lucky bubbly people.
Why not?
Like, oh,
they're the best.
It's so wholesome. Oh my goodness. Yes. I'm Alex, and you can find me on Twitter at TableGamesmith.
Wonderful. Thank you. And then we're going to hop over to our very own Sergar, which I believe I said it right most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I chose such a tricky name.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. I love it.
I love the name. I would say I love the name, but at the same time, I'm just like, Sergar?
Yeah. Hi, thank you for having me. You can find me on Twitter under HTT Paladin. And, wow, I loved all of this, honestly.
I'm so glad you did. It was so good to have both of you playing with us. It's so much fun. And last but certainly not least, the very lovely Hans. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. I got to go sometime, right? So it's always fantastic. I think the most fun part of this game is the 2 new characters every week, but also Faye and Alice. I don't want to get myself in too much trouble there. The whole thing is just a lot of fun. I'm enjoying all the parts of it, except for the parts that are scary and make me want to cry. That's all. So lots of great stuff. Don't forget that Alice has a Patreon where she does wonderful photos, and everyone should check it out.
Thank you, because I always forget. Also, I swear I'll stop making you run.
No, probably not.
I might. I'll do it. I'll see what happens.
It's a dump stat for a reason. It's okay.
I want to point out here that I almost had a character who couldn't move as fast as he could today, which would have made all of this as frightening for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Well, you were down to like 20 feet beforehand, weren't you?
Yeah, because I didn't meet the strength requirement for chainmail. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, Faye, I've just seen your message. You left your lights on.
All my lights are on today.
Oh.
Wonderful. Thank you. Otherwise, please check out all the links coming. Oh, I'm White Rabbit Pick on Twitter. Yeah, my stuff's over there. Otherwise, please check out the links coming up in chat now. That includes the Discord. We'd love to hear what you think of this game. We have a section just for the Shards of Siberys. Also, if you want to catch up, this will be uploaded to YouTube. The rest are already over there. You can check that out. If you want to get in this game, or if you want to play in another viewer game, come play Eberron with me. You can drop Scrat a DM on Twitter and we will go and do more shenanigans and wonderful things. Also, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors who we can do this without. Check out Mage Hand Press. They've just done their I cannot talk anymore. Dark Matter Space D&D. It's good. Also their Fae Folio, which was on just before this. Also the Deck of Many Things with the deck of many magic moving spell cards, which are really fancy. Also their Humblewood, which you can see run as one of our viewer games tomorrow. And last but certainly not least, Hero Forge. These really epic little minis. Look at the little fox. Look at it go. Printed in color. They're really fantastic, so go check them out as well. Otherwise, keep evoking emotions, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Hello. Bye.
Okay, everyone, let's go on a raid. Perhaps we can start a little hype over there, right? I mean, Perception Studios, we love Perception Studios. They've got a bunch of, they've got Cucumber and Crunch on the show right now. I'm gonna come in and drop 100 bits. If a few more of us drop 100 bits or so, we can start a hype train over there. Let's do this thing. Thank you. Oh, I'm very loud, aren't I? Whoops. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow for more D&D. Bye.